Okay, hi guys, welcome to Breaking the Code of You, episode 2, and I'm so happy to have Rayson with me today on the show, and I just want to give a very warm welcome to you, Rayson. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
me
you, thank you.
on
It's
Breaking the Code
really
of
my
You.
honor and pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
As usually I'll be the one interviewing people, but this time around I'm being interviewed. I'm really thankful for it.
Yes, and I definitely wanted you on the show because you are such an exemplary young man who is shining in the marketplace as the person who is not just great at you, but wants to make a lot of people great at what they do as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so on Breaking the Code of You, it's basically an experience where I take my interviewees through this whole process of sharing how they arrived at the USP.
Okay.
Right? So previously you knew USP as
Unique selling point.
that's right.
Yep.
Okay, but on this show we call it the unique superhero power.
Unique superhero power.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's nice.
Okay.
Sounds like I'm gonna be Batman or Superman or even Spider-Man soon.
Yeah, so today we are really going to look at how you discovered the calling as a motivational speaker who specializes in the area of mental resilience in times of struggle and adversity.
Yeah. So basically, it
Okay,
took me a
so let me just
yeah,
start
sure.
off with asking you what is it that made you decide that you wanted to help people specifically in the area of mental resilience?
Well, it all started off when I was a kid. I went through a lot of shit, a lot of tribulations, a lot of troubles. A
Wow,
lot of,
as a kid.
yeah, I know, right? But it's okay. I mean, like every kid, in every country will face certain negative things in their life. And a lot of struggles would happen, in
All
their
right,
life as well.
welcome Min and Belle. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so what happened was that, when I was 7 years old, I had a mom who is actually suffering from schizophrenia.
Right.
Even to today, she's still suffering from this. Unfortunately, I'm not so blessed as other kids that have a mom that has no mental illness at all. I mean, there are some who has, some who doesn't. So yeah, I am having I had this mom that had this issue, and then my dad was also helping her along the way during the years of marriage. He has been helping her. It's just that there's once where I was actually being supervised by a nanny, and this nanny was actually having some issues, because back then I had some chicken pox.
Right.
Yeah, and then this nanny was dissatisfied, that I have this, and she's afraid that I will spread to the her daughters and even her family members. So it was a bit. I was still very naive and did not know what was happening. So my dad and mom actually decided, that they have to, because of this, they have to actually take turns to look after me.
Right.
Yeah, they have to take turns in terms of, like, my dad was actually working as a security guard in night shift, and my mom is still working in a normal place in Singtel. So she was actually just some administrator where she was doing some admin jobs in Singtel. So she was doing that. So she had to, they had to actually choose to go through this lifestyle, and because of that, my dad didn't manage to actually look after my mom's medication journey, medication routine. So it it just made her have this relapse back then.
I
So
see.
yeah,
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly jump in at this point
yeah, sure.
and explain how this process works. So we're going to do this interview in 3 stages.
Three
and,
stages,
yes,
okay.
And it's great that you talked about your life story because
Yeah.
what we're going to do is that we're going to look at 3 factors or variables that interact to form the self-identity. Right? Because Tony Robbins said once that the greatest singular force in the universe, well, most of us would think it's gravity, right? Okay, but the single greatest force in the universe is for our words and actions to correspond with the way we see ourselves.
Okay.
So it's very important, and as I speak to people, I realize that, the question I ask them very often as a purpose coach is that, why are you not doing the things you love and the things that you want to do? So they often say things like, oh, you know what? I don't have the right background. I don't have the right personality. I don't have the right experiences. And I'm sure as you speak to people along the way, you get that a lot as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like so many of them, they say because they're born poor, so they're gonna die poor. Which is not true because Bill Gates has already said that if you're born poor, it's okay, but if you die poor, it's your problem.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it's because of you, your
Yeah.
actions, your
Yeah.
mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you were born in a background that's sort of, if you looked at it negatively, it would have disqualified you from doing the things that allowed you to become the person that you are today. So the purpose, the first stage is to really look at how your background interacts with your personality type as well as experiences to make Rayson the person that he is today. So as we understand your self-identity and your USP, which is called the unique superhero power, then we're able to map it and help the viewers understand how you came to arrive at your purpose as well as a marketplace mission.
Okay.
So that's the second stage of the interview where we'll talk about how you discover that mission and why you're so passionate about it. And then the third stage is to really dwell and dive into the message that you have as this motivational speaker who's passionate about mental resilience and how people can overcome their own hurdles in times of adversity as well as their own mental struggles. Right? So, as we start with the first stage. From what I've understood speaking to you earlier, you said that at 7 years old, something happened to you that would forever change your life.
Yes.
What was that?
So what actually happened, was that my mom, like what I said, right, because of they have to actually change. My dad has to change his job, and also at the same time, my mom is still doing the day job, and while my dad is doing night shift, right, it took him a while, to realize that something is going wrong in his marriage with my mom, and also at the same time, because of that circumstances,
Right.
he didn't manage to actually observe a medication routine,
Right.
so it just crumbled. It just crumbled because of that. She didn't take her meds, and she was thinking that maybe she's well already back then, so she felt that she's okay, so she didn't take it. And then after that, she was very living a life that's very dangerous in a sense because she has been whenever she quarrels my dad, she will always tell him that I want to divorce you because get you can't bring me to certain places, you can't go to this place, you have to suffer because of this
Okay, so
situation.
essentially, she put the blame
Put the
on
blame
your
on my
dad.
dad, and she had that delusion that my dad had
What's the problem?
had actually cast black magic spells on her,
I
which
see.
wasn't true at all.
I see, of course.
And yeah, and because of all these negative beliefs and all these delusions, okay, that stemmed in her, she actually one day she actually ran away from home.
I see.
Yeah, we were expecting her to come back, and the next thing was that she didn't come back at all. She didn't come back, and within a month, okay, we were searching for her high and low.
And viewers must have been frantic for a person
Yeah.
to be missing for a month.
Yeah, we were very, very scared, worried, because back then in 1990s, guess what? The most famous thing wasn't Apple, iPhone, wasn't Nokia at all. It wasn't Motorola, but it was this. A lot of people were missing.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of people were missing back then in 1990s, and a lot of them was actually being shipped to Thailand, China, and then
I
they were
see.
chopped off the limbs just
Yes,
to
yes.
actually do donation
Yes, I
for.
recall.
Yeah. So back then, that was all this kind of stuff, and we were so afraid. So we actually went to police. Of course, not 1 month later, but because of this awareness that we had from reading the newspaper about all this stuff, it took us within few days. After we can't find her, we actually go into the police station in Bedok and actually go there and ask for
Okay,
help. And
right.
I remember uh, vividly that we went there almost every week just to actually get some good news from the police. But then again, we weren't given that good news.
So it was a little bit of a roller coaster in that
Yes,
sense.
it was. And then after that, after all this frantic searching, a month later, a month after she went missing, my dad actually received a surprise from her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a surprise. It was a shocking thing as well because it was a letter from my mom. It's not a letter that says, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I went overseas. I wanted to go there." No, it's actually start letter D.
Can you guys guess what that is?
Yeah, it's actually letter D. Yeah, and it's actually a divorce letter that crumbled my dad a lot.
Yes.
Tremendously. He was affected tremendously. He was crying, and he was. I'm thankful that his late best friend actually came over to his place to because his best friend actually passed away last year. So he was very helpful to us.
He was there for you guys.
He was there for us. His family was there for us.
Right.
They helped us a lot. He lent my dad money just to actually get through
this crisis.
that time, that difficult time,
Yes.
and we were very, very thankful, that all this help came along. Yeah, and after he received that divorce letter, right, he immediately brought me to to my primary school's principal office. We went there together, and then he pled the the principal to actually gave me an early release. Yeah, from school because
To stop studying.
no, not to stop studying, but to actually end school earlier.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
that means usually in primary school back then was we normally end at about 6:30 or so, right? After we sing our pledge and all, national anthem and pledge. My principal actually was very nice. She gave us the yes for it. Yeah, she gave us the yes for it, the green light for it. Because if not, my dad was afraid that my mom might come and take me away from him.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was, if I may say so, it was a relatively chaotic situation.
It was very chaotic because my dad at that point of time could have already sensed something was wrong and
Right.
could have sensed that something was not right at that moment. Yeah.
So, and like child development specialists or experts would say that this is a critical time of development for children.
Yeah.
So how did that negatively impact you as you struggled to make sense of what was going on, your mother's disappearance, your father's falling apart emotionally? How did that affect you in terms of how you saw the world and how you saw yourself?
It actually caused me to have a lot of low self-esteem because my because I was actually bullied, severely back then when I was in primary school by a few people. They will, bully me, take my things and throw in the rubbish bin, or even hide it in one corner that's so high up. We usually in primary one, we usually will be in the level one, right? We will normally study in level one, but these people went up to level four, which is a primary six area, and then they just put it there and then hide it. And I was frantically searching for it, and my discipline master and my operating manager will actually help me to search for it, and luckily the bully, was so afraid that something bad would happen.
How long did this bullying go on?
It was like months, I would say.
For months.
Months.
Did you know why he picked on you particularly? Was it because of what you were going through? Or?
I believe they actually knew what was going on. They even to the extent that some of them even called me motherless. Yeah, so
That's a terrible thing to say.
I believe someone could have said it out. Maybe the teachers could have said it out, or somebody eavesdropped it and started this chain of bullying, which I was pretty much affected.
So so the bullying went on, and at the age of 7, And children are really impressionable at that
Yeah.
age.
Correct.
So how did that affect you in terms of your self-image?
Well, I was
How did you
thinking,
see yourself?
yeah, I was thinking that I'm pretty weak. Like I was thinking
Right.
that I can't, overcome all this kind of stuff, all
Hey,
this kind of
and yeah,
people.
sorry, and Val, since you're there, right, and you're the finest man guy, tell us in the comments what you think a real man is,
Yeah.
right? Weakness. What is true strength anyway?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, like back then, I
Hi guys.
I have no idea what the heck is strength. I have no
I mean,
idea.
you were 7.
I was 7. I have no idea what on earth is low self-esteem, what is high self-esteem.
Yes.
All I knew was I had negative thoughts building day by day in my mind, telling myself that I wasn't that good enough. I would sometimes even cry. I would cry and tell my dad, my mom, because I mean my dad. Back then because I was always disturbed in terms of my name. Sometimes they will even say that I not just motherless. They will even make fun of my surname. It's because it's CHOO. So sometimes they will even call me Chupachie.
Chupachie. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, in case you don't know what Chupachie
Pixie
is,
in
yes, it's Pixie in Journey to the
Journey
West.
West,
The
yeah.
monkey, the monk, who were going all the way to Tuas to get these Sanskrit
Yeah, I know,
thingy.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they even call me Choo Choo Train and all those kind of
Okay.
funny names.
So in
Yeah.
a way that sort of emasculated you,
Yeah, in a
right?
sense.
Because they were coming and they were telling you, I guess the subliminal messages were like, you were not good enough, that's why your mom left you.
Yes.
And you were so weak, you couldn't keep her.
Yeah.
Right? And they started ascribing all these attributes because of the externalities like your name, the way you looked, your height, everything, your hair.
Yeah,
I
my
mean,
hair. I was having white hair when I was 7 years old, and I was like being teased as a.
Okay, I had my
Yeah.
first white hair at 18.
Yeah, I mean I was even teased because I have a lot of hair in my legs and all, and they said they call me hairy monster and all, and I was like very upset. But now when I think about it, I find it more hilarious than more
Hey, you've got
scrutinizing.
nice hair,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
thankful that I have nice thick hair as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean all this actually.
Mine also.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yours is pretty thick.
Yeah, we can form a new club, Rayson.
Yeah, it's called a hair club.
Yeah,
The thick hair club.
haters back off. We have thick hair. Deal with it.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like very affected and all. So,
Right. So you felt powerless
Yes,
at
I
the
felt
age of
powerless.
7, and that sort of carried over in your teenage years.
Yes, even
Right.
when I was in secondary school, of course, before I went into secondary 1, when I was in primary 6, right, I grew taller than my bully. So,
Oh, wow.
last time I was a huge fan of WWF, World Wrestling Federation, not World Wildlife. Okay, so I was very much, following all these people, and I'm thankful that back then I was taller than my bully. So when I saw my bully, I had that thought of taking revenge. So in the end, last time there's this very popular wrestler called Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
Okay.
I followed
Val,
him.
do you know? He's talking about wrestling now.
Yeah, I believe he does. So,
Yeah, so okay. Guys, if you've ever been bullied in primary or secondary school, if you felt you were treated unfairly, share with us what were you being picked out on, right? What was it bullying you for, and how you overcame that? So once again, welcome to Breaking the Code of You, Discover Your USP, and Unleash the Leader Within. Of course, I have with me here Rayson today, who's sharing about his background, his personality type, and his experiences, so we can understand how he uncovered his USP as well as his marketplace mission. So just to summarize what we've been talking about so far, Rayson has been sharing with me how at the age of 7, he was traumatized by the sudden disappearance of his mom for 7 months, and then later returned with a divorce letter. And unfortunately, he had to deal with a lot of bullying through his primary as well as secondary school. Yes. So you mentioned at one point as well, Rayson, that you felt so defeated that even at a very young age in secondary school, you contemplated taking your own life.
Yeah,
So
I
can you
was.
share that with us?
Yeah, I was like so negative. I was thinking to myself that I was so powerless. at that point of time, I do not know what's my purpose in life. I have no goals and everything, and all I knew was that I had nothing to dream about, nothing to dream on. I have nothing to think so much about. I just thought of ending my life because of all this negativity.
How old were you exactly?
It was actually in Sec 3 or Sec 4 that time. So I'm thankful that
You were not thinking about that because you don't want to take your O levels. Right?
No. My O levels was actually Sec 5. So yeah.
Okay, right.
So I mean, like I'm thankful that my English teacher, my teacher actually realized that I was very negative and I was worrying a lot and I wasn't myself. She noticed something, so she recommended me to the school counselor, and I'm thankful that I went through that counseling session so that I can rediscover certain things and to solve some certain issues that's deep within me.
I see.
Yeah.
So what was one of the key things that slowly changed your self-identity and your self-image in that counseling session?
Oh, in that counseling
session.
It's only when I started to ask a lot of questions and she replied me. She told me what she truly believed in as well, even though counselors cannot, it's not
Share the faith.
yeah, they should not share a lot about information about stuff.
Right.
They should only like coach. They should ask you questions, stuff like that.
What did she share?
She actually shared a lot, especially back then. I was clueless about religion. I was clueless about myself. I have no one, as in my dad didn't teach me all these things at all. I have to learn from all these people, from different parts of my life. I have to learn from different people, different experiences, circumstances.
So what was it?
So she actually shared something about life. In life, it's not so much about religion. It's not so much about what other people think.
It's not about what people think.
Yeah, it's about what you want in life, and also at the same time whether are you comfortable with this religion and stuff like that. Because she said that ultimately everyone, be it whatever religion you are in, if you're watching right now, this is what she told me. So it's up to you guys to actually interpret it. So she did tell me that this is a very very sensitive topic to talk about, but she's open to tell me that, you know what, Rayson, don't worry so much because ultimately everyone of different faith still calls upon the same God, and just that happens to be different figures, different looks, and different kind of features as well. So the thing is that they you will not go to hell as long as you do whatever good that you want to do in life, and as long as you know what you want to do, and as long as you are impacting someone, you are doing something good for yourself, you will be going to that nirvana, that heaven.
So if we remove this religiosity from the equation, what spoke to you and resonated and deposited with seed? And I think what our viewers can take away at this point is that it's not about do not worry about what people think of you, but rather really find a purpose that gives you hope. And that hope comes from creating a positive impact. So am I right to say that that was the seed that was planted and got you thinking about the bigger purpose in your life?
That was the thing that actually planted in me. It's just that I didn't make full use of that seed. I did not flower that seed very well. I just after going through the counseling, I finished my O levels, and then I go into the next phase of my life in poly. And then in poly, I was pretty much laid back, and also at the same time had a different attitude as compared to now. My attitude was pretty negative as well.
What was it?
Yeah, I was like, don't really think so much about my studies. I just want to know more people, know more friends, get a girlfriend maybe because I never had a girlfriend in my secondary school. I was so curious about what is it like, to have a girlfriend as well. And
By the way,
yeah,
if you're looking for a girlfriend and you're a nice guy, you don't know where to start, reach out to Belle. Belle, are you still there? Is he still there? Okay,
yeah, he's
great.
still there. I believe.
Okay,
Yes. So yeah, I mean like yeah. So my whole
okay,
purpose
yeah.
in life and mission in life wasn't from there. It
Yeah,
didn't.
so it
Yeah,
wasn't clear at that
it
point in
wasn't
time,
clear. It
right?
wasn't clear.
And if you're listening right now, and if you have a vague notion of your purpose, and you feel like you haven't fully actualized your potential, you know, I think I just want to say that at this point, don't blame yourself because it takes a lot to cause a seed to grow, and the watering of the seed, the sunlight that comes upon the seed, this is not something that is accomplished purely by yourself.
Yeah.
So I give full credit to your counselor for sowing that seed.
Yeah.
But it was that whole journey of exposing yourself to different things that helps you to become the person that you are today.
Yeah.
So the watering could have come from, say, somebody else, and the sunlight could have come from a YouTube video or a mentor that you follow online.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna look at that later. So let's move from your background now to your personality. So I guess at that age, there wasn't a very clear sense of who you are and your strengths and weaknesses. By the time you went to college, you're probably thinking to yourself that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to drift through life and do what everybody else is doing. They've got a girlfriend, I'm going to get a girlfriend as well. And if I get a girlfriend, I will be happy.
Yeah, that was my thought. That was my thought back then.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about your personality development. Okay, so what kind of personality strengths were you aware of as you were growing up and journeying, from that stage probably to early adulthood?
During that point of time, I actually think that my strength was actually humor.
Humor.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also
If you think Rayson is I was gonna say funny guy, but that doesn't sound right. If you think that he's
okay.
a good sense of humor, give him a thumbs up or a ha emoji.
So I thought that I was pretty funny guy, and also at the same time I was very caring in a sense. Whenever I have extra pocket money from my dad, I would usually donate it out.
Wow.
Yeah, whenever I see people that's on the streets, right, and they are, be it they are performing, okay, or they,
basket.
yeah, or they are, just sitting there selling tissues or anything.
Right.
I'll just give money to them, even when they come to the table and then they just ask us whether do you want that tissue paper, I will usually give. Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you're selling tissue, you know who to get.
Yeah, who to get, right?
Who to get the money from? Okay, Rayson.
Yeah, usually
Rayson
I'll
Choo
keep
of the
them.
Ragacy Show. you won't take the tissue. You want to use it.
Yeah, no. Sometimes I won't even take the tissue. I'll just give them.
He's a good guy. Please take notes. If you buy tissue, don't take the tissue. Just say, God bless you. Be a good person like Rayson. And then a person, siang Rayson. He's a very humorous and caring guy. Okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I thought. When I was young.
Okay, so it's like at that point in time, you already had a sensing. And, for those of you listening in, and this one, I want to say hi to John, to Lynette, Lily, Rachel, Darren, Shandy, Tim, Timothy, as well as Colin, who's watching. And thank you so much for joining us on this series of finding out who the superheroes are. Who are you as a superhero? As we explore the superhero identities of people like Rayson. Right? On the outside, people know him as a nurse, as a person who's very active as a motivational speaker. But when I look at Rayson, I see a very distinguished young man who's been through that passage of life. That even up to this point of his young life, he has clarity on his purpose, right? So even at the age of 18 to about 20, early 20s, you knew that you were a humorous person, you knew that you were a caring person.
Yes.
And that's very important because that is part of what forms a USP, which is what we'll talk about later, okay, and how that translates in terms of your purpose and your marketplace mission. So that's really interesting. So you had a sense of your strengths in terms of your being caring and being humorous. So what is it that motivated you to care for people even at that point of your life?
At that point when because I actually yearned for attention as well back then, because I didn't have much of attention when I was younger, right? So I actually felt that if I care for people without any ulterior motives, that's definitely people will just like me and people will just want to be friends with me and all. And
no ulterior motive,
no
but
ulterior
hopefully they will
motive.
like you.
Yeah. So I was thinking like I didn't know that.
No wonder the tissue paper guy always look.
Yeah, because I have no ulterior motive, right?
No, but you're hoping that he will like you.
Yeah, in the sense.
Okay, I'm just being cheeky.
But yeah, I mean, one thing is I only knew a little bit of my strengths, but I knew a lot of weaknesses that I had.
Okay, so that's interesting.
I was always
That's
thinking about my weakness rather than my strength.
Right. So what were some of the weaknesses? Because we're talking about self-identity, right? We're trying to understand how your self-identity evolved over the years. And sometimes before it gets better, it actually gets a lot worse. So by the time you're coming into adulthood, you were painfully aware of some weaknesses that actually paralyzed you from taking action and becoming the kind of person that you wanted to be deep down inside. So what were some of these weaknesses that paralyzed you, or the thoughts?
This weakness these thoughts that I had, it was that I do not deserve certain things in my life. Like for example, when I am about to get a girlfriend or stuff like that, I will tell myself, I don't think I deserve her. She deserves better, kind of stuff. I had this kind of negative.
So you call up your friend, for instance, Belle. Hey Belle, I got this very good lobang. This girl very nice one. You want to know? Then Belle asks you, why you don't want? She's so good. I think, I'm not good enough for her. So it will be something like that.
No, I won't like call the person and say, hey, you want this girl? Hey, I give it to you.
I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I won't do that. Okay, but I will pretty much subconsciously
you just
do
sabotage
it and
yourself.
sabotage myself. To be frank, I was pretty shy back then.
Oh, you're shy?
Yeah,
okay.
I was also much more introverted back then.
Okay.
But after a series of setbacks and all, which I'll share later on. Yeah, that made me realize a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which I'll share later on as well.
Yes,
so,
we still have time. We still have time.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got about 15 more minutes, so stick around, okay, for the full story. And thank you so much for being on Breaking the Code of You.
Yep.
Together here with Rayson as we discover his USP, unique superhero power, and of course his marketplace mission. And we hope as you listen in, you will also find something useful towards understanding yourself and breaking your own code. So since we're on the topic of personality, right? And I've got this model that I help in my coaching to help people understand who they are as a result of their background, personality type, as well as their experiences. So let's talk about your personality type.
Okay.
Right? So in my coaching, I use the MBTI, which is essentially about understanding your natural preferences. So there are 4 dichotomies or 4 cognitive functions that determine your type. So since we talked about, you mentioned you would have been a lot more introverted than you were extroverted again, right?
Yes.
But from my interaction with you, I'm sensing also that it was your shyness and that sense of shame that inhibited you and made you shy and prevented you from actually wanting to interact with people when your intention and your desire was really to engage with the external world, to get to know people better so that you can care for them. Right? I mean, you can't care for people in your own room. I mean, like, you can have a lot of soft toys. Hey, you eat already or not, Garfield? Winnie, you went to the toilet already or not? We need the poo, ma. Yeah, so it would require that step, stepping out there to get to know people, like how you bought tissue for that tissue guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's interesting, and you have shared with me before that your personality type, and if we were to look at MBTI, so there are four dichotomies. So and the first one talks about how you energize yourself and your attitude towards the external world. So it's not on a spectrum; it's a matter of natural preference. When you're not at work, it's about your natural self. So extroversion refers, a lot of times people associate being extroverted as being chatty, friendly, outspoken.
Yeah, very approachable towards people.
Yes. But the thing is that you were not like that when you were younger, right? But your natural preference is that you were energized by interacting with people.
Yes, I like to actually, interact with people. Just that I do not know how back then.
Right. Yes, back then. Yes.
Yeah, I will always screw it up.
Because
Yeah.
of the self-sabotage,
Yes.
the feeling that you're not good enough. I mean, there are days, okay, trust me, guys, as approachable as I look with my big hair, there are days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk to people because they're judging me or etc. We do have those moments of self-doubt.
Yeah.
And, growing up, especially when you haven't really found that sense of identity. So what happens is that a lot of people mistaken extroversion for being loud, for being chatty, but when it's really about your attitude towards the external world, how do you engage the external world? So the accurate interpretation of extroversion or introversion is how you engage the world and how you're energized by the external world. So correspondingly, or rather by the reverse token, introverts would prefer to have their own space because they're energized by their inner world.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established that Rayson here, with the great hair, okay, and the generous heart, loves to interact with people because he feels energized by that, right? Okay, so the next dichotomy deals with how you process information. Okay, so there is what we call sensate versus intuitive. Right, so sensate, as the term implies, means, and if you're listening right now, you can actually do a self-assessment of your MBTI type. There are 16 personality types, and this is useful for you as well. So this dichotomy looks at how you process information. So typically, sensates will process information in terms in a sequential sequence, and they will process information via the five senses. So when you speak to senses, usually they'll tell you, if you ask them how their day was, they'll share with you about the events of the day. Now, if you spoke to intuitive, they might not speak about their day sequentially or the day per se, but they may pick on an incident or a theme that they feel resonates with them, and they'll share the deeper meaning of that. The reason being that is because they prefer to interact with ideas rather than facts, so to speak. So in your experience, Rayson, how has it been for you? Do you prefer to talk about the meaning of life, purpose, etc., or would you rather just talk about experiences through sensory fashion?
Oh, to be frank, I prefer both, in fact.
Now, preference means you got to choose one.
Okay. So usually I'll be the one that is intuitive. So I'll always share about what I feel about life is, to people, to my friends and all. And of course, I do share a little bit about, those events and stuff like that. The things that happen, But I usually would do the later one.
Yes. So one hack to differentiate, if you're not sure if you're intuitive or sensor, one question to ask yourself is, am I a big picture person? Okay, do I like to start from the top, looking at things from the area view from the top, and then getting to the details later, or do you prefer to start from the bottom up, which is to look at the details and then later zoom out? Okay, so there is a preference in terms of people who prefer to, okay, give me the facts, give me the details. I don't want a big picture, or I'll just figure that out later. Right? So it's a matter of preference, whereas the intuitives prefer to deal with concepts, theories, and the big picture because they're trying to get to the meaning of things rather than the way things appear to be. So there's no like It doesn't mean if you're a sensor you're better or you're intuitive you're better, but it's just different ways of processing information. Okay, so that brings us to the next dichotomy. Or when we see dichotomy, we're talking about the two opposite preferences. Okay, so after you have processed information, you must be able to make decisions based on that information.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two types of preferences, two dichotomies. So two preferences for the next dichotomy, which is thinking versus feeling. Now, a lot of times people say, you know what, I'm a thinker because I think a lot. Okay, so it's not about that per se. What it simply means is, how do you make decisions? If you make decisions based on your logic, then you are what we call a thinker. However, if you tend to make decisions based on your feelings or what we call your values and how it affects other people, then you are in MBTI terms what we call a feeler. So what is your preference?
Well, my preference would be a thinker.
Okay, so this is out of the work context. In your natural preference, when you make a decision, do you actively put yourself in the shoes of other people, or do you actively remove yourself from the picture and look at it in terms of third person?
Oh, okay.
So that's what it means.
Okay, I'll usually put myself in the other person's shoes.
Okay, so you're empathetic.
I'm empathetic in terms of like, let's say if I'm going out with my friends and all, I'll always ask them, hey, if you want to go to this place, it's good, and then if they say they do not want to, then I'll ask them for second opinion. You know, where do you want to go, stuff
right,
like that.
Yeah, because you're always putting the needs of thinking about how this will affect other people first, right?
Yeah, in a sense.
Okay, I think that's partly also because, and this is useful in your career development. So Rayson, our friend here, is a person who's very empathetic, you know, and even in your family life, you've had the struggles you had because you're constantly thinking about how's this going to affect my mom, how's this going to affect my dad, how's this going to affect my family, right? We're not saying that thinkers do not have feelings, okay? You're not Frankenstein's monster. And even Frankenstein's monster has feelings. He's on my Facebook, so I know. Okay, so it's not a continuum, right? Thinkers have feelings and feelers have logic as well. It's just your preference in terms of the decision-making process. So you are a feeler, which is also what one of the things that led you to choosing the nursing profession and then transitioning as well to being a motivational speaker to share your thoughts on mental resilience, because you see clearly how that is going to impact and affect the internal world and feelings and lives of people in a very nurturing fashion.
Yes, right. I mean, like when people has a very bad mental health, right? Your emotions, your physical health, and even your spirituality will be affected as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is all linked. They are all linked together. So,
Exactly. So fantastic. So the last dichotomy deals with the last cognitive function deals with your orientation towards the world. How do you structure your life, for instance? Okay. So this is what we call judging versus perceiving. Now, judging does not mean that you're a judgmental person, and perceiving doesn't mean that you're more perceptive. What it simply means is that if you're a J or judging, it means that you're a person who likes to structure and adhere to a certain order or schedule in your life. You like to plan things way in advance. You do not like last-minute changes. Now, perceivers, on the other hand, or what we call the Ps, are a lot more spontaneous because they live for new possibilities. So if you have friends who are perceivers, you might have experienced this. Okay, oh, John, I can't make it for our appointment tomorrow because something came up. Or they're like, you know what, I can't confirm with you right now because they're always thinking about some other thing that might pop up. Okay, so perceivers are basically very driven by experiences, and they're always on the lookout for new possibilities, which is why if you're planning a trip, you can't tell them like, oh, okay, can you let's book this trip, 6 months or 1 year in advance. Okay, I mean you can do that, but the perceiver might very likely tell you in the end that they can't make it. So not too close. Not too far ahead. So Rayson, are you more of a J or a P in your natural preferences?
I'm more in a J. I'm more in a J.
Okay, so how does that translate in your life?
Well, I would normally be, planning my day or even my before the night, I will normally plan my next day. Yeah, or even when I go for a trip, I need to know what's the itinerary.
Ah, right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's
I
right.
need to know what's on the itinerary. Even though
Okay.
sometimes I don't mind, going like just go for spontaneous stuff. Like you just
Yes.
just go to certain places. I don't mind that
Yes.
kind of experiences
Okay.
because I'm highly adaptable.
Yes, you are
Yeah.
adaptable. So it
Yes.
doesn't mean that judges are not adaptable. It just means that they prefer to know what's going to happen next. So don't spring surprises on them consistently or regularly.
Yeah,
They're not going to like that.
Yeah.
Right? So this is very useful in terms of communication and, of course, interacting with them in the workplace as well as your own personal social life. So we'll talk about that another time. But that's really fascinating. So your personality type is what we call an ENFJ. Now, so if we talk about type development, which is something I don't have time to go into today, but the dominant function of an ENFJ like Rayson is essentially what we call extroverted feeling. So extroverted feelers are extremely driven by caring for people. I'm telling you guys, this thing works. It works like a charm. Okay, personality type does not establish your identity. You don't go around saying, "Hey, hi, I'm Rayson. I'm an ENFJ." Nobody does that. They'll be like, "What's wrong with you?" Okay, but it plays a very big part, and that's why I use that in my coaching as well to help you understand what is your key motivation, right? So when you go through MBTI, I mean, you can go online, check out some of those free tests to see what your type is as well. Okay, that will help you to understand your values and why you gravitate towards certain people and doing certain things, and what kind of careers or dreams that you have. So it's very clear to me that you have chosen a profession that allows you to see an immediate impact that you create on the patients that you help.
Yes.
So that way, your dominant function of extroverted feeling as an ENFJ, you can go Google that to understand Rayson better. What is a ENFJ? MBTI is gratified.
Yes.
But because, right, so we talked about the second dichotomy in terms of how you prefer to process information, but because you are intuitive, you know that it's not just about caring for the person when he's sick in bed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it takes a process before a person becomes finally sick and lies in the bed. And I'm sure in your understanding, it always starts with the mental and emotional health.
Yes.
Which is why, as an ENFJ, if you have discovered your USP or unique superhero power because of your background and your type, that in order to create an enduring legacy, or what he calls Raygacy, his mission is really to help people to regain or to find their mental resilience, so that they're not flat on their backs, right? They are able to get out there. He's able to empower them to make a difference and to live out the life of their dreams.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about your experiences as the last piece of this jigsaw puzzle of understanding your self-identity and your USP as Rayson. Okay, so let's talk about the experiences I know in the year of 2014 that kind of really turned your life around, because most of the times some of the life-changing experiences, and I'm sure you guys have had them as well, and I congratulate you for being an overcomer and joining us today as we find out how to become more mentally resilient. Of course, here with Rayson, who's a motivational speaker on mental resilience. So how do you convert some of the most crushing life experiences? How did you do that in the year of 2014? Right, to enter into your destiny, for you to level up, okay, in Pokemon terms. I don't play the game, but that's what I heard. In terms of your self-identity. So remember, at 7 in your teenage years, you had very low self-esteem, you wanted to kill yourself, and in your early adulthood, you were just drifting through life. You had a big sense of humor, you knew that you were caring. But in the year of 2014, things happened. And this quote reminds me, adversity is given to us to show us what we're really made of, what your USP is really made of. So bring it on.
Okay, so what literally happened was that in 2014, right, before I actually joined my current hospital to work, and also at the same time going to schools to speak and all, I was actually
So you're already speaking.
Yeah, I was actually speaking
Wow, okay.
in 2014 after all these things had happened.
I
So
see.
what happened was that I was actually in this Japanese clinic. Okay, I was in this very high-end Japanese
You were
clinic.
working there.
Yeah, I was working there. I was working there as a staff nurse,
I see.
and I was facing a lot of issues. I couldn't focus. There's a lot of things I need to learn, not just Japanese itself. I need to learn a lot about culture, and also at the same time, their working mindset is different from us as well.
That's true.
And also at the same time, certain things it's different in terms of the way they manage the clinic as well, and the way they function as a nurse over there is different. Even though the uh, the 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 things that we have to do over there, is not so difficult. Okay, but I couldn't focus because I had a lot of issues outside. Meaning to say, I had issues with my ex-girlfriend. Back then, we were always having some strained relationship, always quarreling and all. And I would also be, having my mom was having a relapse as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was quite a severe relapse. At
Yes,
that point in
yes,
time.
yes, yes. So everything was going haywire, and I couldn't really manage it. And then, so after I was actually fired over there.
Sure.
I was
How
fired.
long was and thank you for being so honest and
Yeah.
vulnerable. So as you guys would know, and I think it's we have a lot of guys tuned in, and some fine ladies, very fine ladies, all single ladies, no, all the fine ladies.
Yeah,
And it takes courage to be vulnerable.
yeah, it does,
Yeah.
it does.
So how long were you working before you were fired?
I was working for about 3-4 months, and then I was
Okay.
being fired.
Right.
And then at the same time, I after the firing, okay, I was having I was still having continuous issues with my ex-girlfriend, and then
Right.
after that, we broke up. After
Right,
that, so it
right.
was
So it was around the
blow
same
as
time.
well.
Was
It
it
was
around-
within the same time, within like
Okay.
1 week plus or so, we
Wow.
broke up as well.
Well, did they arrange to do this together? 他们是讲好的, they talk about it already.
No. So everything was going haywire. Then my mom, at that time, was having a relapse as well, right? So it was a triple blow for me. And then I realized something. I was thinking, hey, how come life is so shitty? And then I realized, no.
Newsflash, life is shitty.
No, then I realized, no, it's actually not. It's actually failure doesn't just come like this,
Right.
multiple times just came back to back like this. Failure, it's not always like failure and failing all the time in life.
Right.
So I realized that, okay, I have to change my mindset. I have to change my life. I have to change the way I see the world. I have to change my attitude, especially my attitude. Yeah, I have to improve on myself. I decided on personal development. Yeah, I decided to actually to actually help my mom as well, and also at the same time go through the personal development. So I read a lot of self-help motivational books, business books, entrepreneur books. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, not K-drama, J-drama, or whatever drama. Okay,
Sometimes I got watch K-drama one. Oppa! Don't leave me, Oppa!
yeah, so it's not these videos. I was watching all these motivational videos by Anthony Robbins,
Right.
Nick Vujicic, that sparks me a lot
yes.
as well.
Yes.
I watched a lot of Tai Lopez, the guy
Yeah.
with this caption, "Hey, in my garage," and then
Okay,
yeah.
so just to get you up to speed, Nick Vujicic, if you haven't heard of him, he is the guy without arms and legs,
Yep,
right?
correct.
Okay, and Tai Lopez is a guy who always, can you do the impersonation?
Yeah, he will always do this. Hey, in my garage, and then he will always explain all his books.
He says this, hey guys, I'm now in my garage.
Yeah, this is my freaking Lamborghini. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, this is my
yeah.
like 6-story house, one of my 20 properties, and here's my bookshelf with 10,000 books. Okay, more love to you, Tai Lopez.
Yeah. I mean, like, I really salute to all these people because they were the ones who inspired me. And some more other people came along the line as well. Chris Gardner inspired me as well. A lot of them, especially when I went for seminars, motivational seminars, to actually go and check them out and to actually understand more about life and understand the
Okay.
perspective of how to become more successful in life as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So what gave you the hope that you could be like them? Because we're talking about coming out of a place where you felt you were not good enough,
Yep.
you know, life was shitty. So what gave you the hope that you could actually see a better life and be a better self? That you could have a stronger self-identity that serves you? Because like it or not, we all have a self-identity, which refers to how you see yourself, right? The question is that self-identity serving your greatness? So you realize that your self-identity was not serving your greatness.
Yep. So after reading all these books, right, I actually literally apply whatever that was being taught. So be it books by Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people, uh, be it Fish, okay, that is by Johnson Spencer or something,
Right.
or somewhere along the lines that talks about how people from least productive to more productive in life.
Okay.
And also, I also went through this mini training program when I was actually helping this mentor of mine back then. He was a mentor for me where he actually agreed to bring me to schools to speak.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
so I'm
yeah.
just going to quickly ask this because the viewers might be thinking about this as well. How did you manage to go from like in your mind? Because a lot of times, and I realize this is a problem as I work with different people, they may say, "Oh, you know, Dazzling, yeah, I'm sure this works for other people, but how can I be so sure that it works for me?" So, what was the one belief that you had that even as these people were able to do it for their own lives, you could do it for your own life as well?
Well, I believe whatever that you want, right, all starts from within. So it all starts from your mindset, your paradigm. So
Okay.
because I decided to change my mindset, I decided to feed my mind with all this positivity, all this positive information. Okay, I immediately took action and
So,
changed
so
my.
in a way, like Muhammad Ali said,
Yes.
before anybody else saw my greatness, I saw my own greatness.
Yes, correct.
Right? So there was something in you that told you, you know what? I still believe that there's something good inside of me
Yep.
that can be developed. And that was kind of like your basis as you piled on the motivational videos, as you, you know, ingested and digested all
Yep.
these motivational books, etc., and took consistent action to make them a reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have got to a point where we've fully covered stage one, where we really understand how you came to your self-identity. Okay, so so you used at that point your USP was to make a difference in terms of developing your talents and getting out there as a speaker
Yep.
who wanted to share more of your experiences. So let's talk about the part two of it, which is how did you arrive at the final clarity in terms of your marketplace mission? Right, because I think most people will be quite intrigued, like, hey, Rayson, you're a nurse. Why would you want to leave a stable job in a sense and in the future to fully embrace the path of being a motivational speaker specializing in mental resilience?
Well, I believe this is like my calling, and also at the same time, when I help these people out, not just in the hospitals or even when I'm out there speaking to maybe boys' home. I went to boys'
Yeah,
home to
recently
speak,
I
right?
saw
Yeah,
a picture on Facebook.
I went to schools to
Yeah.
speak, right? So every time when I see these kids, I realize that hey, they all have this potential, no matter how naughty they are or how quiet they are or how
Right.
obedient they are. In fact, I realize that everyone has huge potential in them. It's
Right.
just whether have you discovered them or not. And I believe that since I have that opportunity to actually go to these schools to actually speak, right, I realize that you know if I can do it, why not them?
Yes.
Why not these people that were so discouraged in life
Exactly.
because of family problems, because of financial issues, that's why they can't go to school, or that's why they have to go out and skip school and to work just so that they can actually feed the family and stuff like that.
Exactly.
All this kind of stuff actually intrigue me. It made me think a
Right.
lot more.
Yes.
And I realized that I want to serve this community of people, be it students or working adults. I want them to realize that hey, you have a dream, go for it. You have something in you that you haven't just discovered yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're there to help people to realize that they are able to achieve far more than
Yes.
they are
They are,
restricting
yes.
themselves at
Yeah.
that point of their lives because of their background, because of the experiences, because of the failure and the quality of things that you mentioned.
Yes.
Right? Which again goes back to why I say, breaking the code of view is really understanding how your background, your personality type, and experiences are the very things that make you the person that you are today
Yep.
and qualifies you for the job, so to speak, right? So if you're a motivational speaker, for instance, or if you're a person who's discovering a new vaccine or new cure, right? You've been through you've been desperately sick yourself, and people have given up on you, but that becomes the very thing that gives you the hope. Or becomes the very thing to believe in yourself, so that when you get better, you go out there and tell people, hey, you know what? Because I've been through all these things. You've been through like your parents' divorce. You've been through dealing with your mom's mental health issues. You've been through being suicidal at the age of 15, 16. Right? You've been through being dumped unceremoniously by your girlfriend. You've been through losing a job. You've been through losing almost your own mental health.
Yeah.
So that becomes the very thing that gives you the unique superhero power, who is that caring and humorous person who wants to bolster people's self-esteem and making them see that they're far more capable of what they truly are.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of like your part two. That's how you found your mission,
Yes.
right? Because you are getting that out there in the marketplace and engaging the external world actively to deliver your message.
Yes.
And I think that's really awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so now we are part two to understand what your message is. So in breaking the code of view, there are three parts. The first part is personal mastery in terms of understanding me. Who am I as a person? Because you really have to know who you are. Because when you are able to accept your greatness, that is when you realize, hey, I am the person who's exactly whom God has created me to be in order to fulfill this marketplace mission, right?
Yep.
Which I call the stage two. So the first part is personal mastery, where you gain clarity on the me. So you move on to the second part, which is purpose mastery, and you understand what your purpose as well as your marketplace mission is. So that's how you add value, right?
Yes,
So the
right.
third part is persuasion mastery, where you gain clarity on your message, so that every time you go out to the marketplace, whether you're a doctor, a teacher, motivational speaker, a toilet cleaner, okay, you have a very distinct mission as well as message. So what is that message you want to leave for our viewers in the last 5 minutes of this incredible sharing that you've been giving us so far?
Well, my message to everyone is this: failure is a setup to success.
Amen.
Okay. Yep. Amen to that. And also at the same time, aspire to inspire before you expire, because these two quotes are the quotes.
Let me check my date.
Yeah. So these two are the quotes that actually resonates with me, and I'm working towards as well.
Right.
So my current mission in life right now is to aspire to. My current goal, in fact, is to actually aspire to inspire 20,000 people by 2020.
Wow.
Yes. So
That's awesome.
currently I have using my own what we call my own show called the Ragacy Show.
The Raygacy Show.
Yeah.
Yes, share more about that with us.
Yeah, so Rayson Choo actually comes out when I realized that there's so many people always have this notion that they know every single thing. And they always say, I know already, you don't tell me, this kind of stuff.
It's quite Singaporean as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
quite-
tell me, I already know that.
Yeah, not just in Singapore, in other countries as well.
Sure.
I believe there's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, since Facebook Live is good, a good,
It's a tool.
a good tool and a good platform for me to use.
Smash the like button if you agree.
Yeah, and I realized that there's so many negativity on Facebook Live where people film someone being kicked, someone being slashed, someone being do something, or quarrel or whatever, or fight, they'll just Facebook Live and just watch it
Yeah,
and
it's crazy,
stomp it
lah.
and so many likes and all. I thought, why
They
not
don't,
just reverse
they
it?
don't catch people doing good,
Yeah.
they catch people doing bad.
Yeah,
So you want to do something
I want
else.
to do something different.
Yes.
I want to not just add value to people's life by having guest speakers that are not just motivational speakers. They are not just personal branding experts. They are also authors, celebrities as well. Yeah, which I got to be on the show.
Yes.
And so far I have already gotten about at least, okay, at least 3 to 4 thousand
Oh, that's
views
fantastic.
on
That's
Facebook Live.
fantastic.
It is not just one show I have 3,000, but it's more of accumulative.
Yes.
Like some are just 300, 400, some are 500, some even 800 plus viewers. So I just combine them up and I realized that wow, there's so many of them.
And I think that's the power of goal setting. And I feel encouraged just hearing that. And I'm going to be vulnerable as well. I'm a person who's like, oh my God, only got this X number of views for my last video. Nobody wants to watch, I forget it. You know, but I realized that it's all about gaining traction. And this is the part where I want to ask you, right? Because you read so much motivational material. So how do you not let failure, how do you not internalize failure, so to speak, when you do not get the results you originally wanted? How do you not let that affect the way you see yourself?
Oh, that's pretty simple because I have support, you know, not just from my family, but also my mastermind group of people. I have motivational speakers to motivate me as well, to inspire me to take action.
So you have
as
a
well.
community.
I have a community. I have a community of people that are there. You know, I have WhatsApp group that always spamming one another to be better and all this stuff. And also at the same time, I already told myself that success is a setup to
failure is
failure is a setup to success, and it doesn't mean that once you fail, it means it's over.
Right.
No such thing, because I've seen how this Jack Ma, for example, or even Steve Jobs have failed so many times, or even Michael Jordan has failed so many times, even though he was a championship winner for NBA, you know, or even people like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, for example. Yeah, they all went through a lot of big shit, you know, and they realized a lot of things. And then I also, when I watch all this autobiography, okay, on YouTube and etc., you know, I realized that hey, if they can do it, why can't I? Right? If Nick Vujicic with no limbs can have a wife, and have a baby,
and 2 kids,
have baby, okay, and have children, you know, and he still can earn so much money and through
more love
and
to
all
you,
this.
Nick. More love to you.
Yep. Why can't I, right? You know, everyone start from somewhere, and he also started from somewhere as well. He was pitching a deal for like less than what he's earning right now. Back then when he was first started, so many people shared with me, you know, about their experiences, about all this stuff, and then I was very much inspired to take action as well.
Wow, awesome, awesome. So it wasn't just about, you know, consuming more content, but producing your own content.
Yes, correct.
So you guys do add Rayson to your Facebook so that you can get updates on his Ragacy Show as he invites more experts and you know, people who have really overcome their own challenges to share their own experiences. So what would you say your Raygacy or your legacy, which is Rayson's legacy, is in the concluding message of this show?
Okay, so for what I believe, you know, this legacy that I'll be leaving is to not just, you know, motivate people, but actually inspire people to take action. Be it you're Singaporean, Malaysian, or whatever, you know, to take action towards your goals and your dreams. Because if I can come out of depression and come out of all this kind of low self-esteem kind of stuff, you know, if I can do it, I believe so can you. Because because in life, you only have one life to live as you. You can't live as Dazzling. You can't live as me. You can't live. We can't exchange our life and be, you know, whoever that the other opposite party is.
The only thing we have in common is our big hair.
Yeah, our thick hair.
Woo.
Okay, so so find your purpose. Take time, no matter how long it is. Okay, take your time to find your purpose. Understand more about yourself. Love yourself even more, and then go for it.
Okay, so since you are an expert on mental resilience, right? What are 3 tips that you can give to people who are struggling with mental wellness? It doesn't mean that you're mad and running around with no clothes on. Okay, I think people have a misconception towards what mental wellness is, and I think in especially fast-paced society like this, I'm gonna look in an eye and say that depression is very common. Okay,
Yes,
whether
it
it's
is.
low grade or full blown depression or anxiety. You know, your poison may look different from my poison, right?
Yep.
But the truth is, there are going to be times where we find ourselves in a very dark place,
Yes.
and we feel oppressed and we feel depressed and we feel like we can't get out of it. So what would you say to people who are, are depressed and struggling with just taking that next step? Because generally speaking, I think motivational books work for people who are in a good state. But
Yep.
what about the people who are really struggling just to get out of it on very bad days?
Well, if you are having your bad days, right, you can actually
Three things.
tell yourself.
So the
you know,
first thing is to tell yourself.
yeah, tell yourself the strengths that you have. Look at the good things
Okay.
in your life.
Write them on a piece of paper so you can remind yourself, right?
Look at the good things that's happening in your life, or even though something bad that happened. For example, someone. Oh no. For example, if let's say you're walking by under the tree and then the bird just shit on you, instead of curse and swear and then take a rubber band and shoot at the bird, just just clean it up and then say it's okay, never mind. Sometimes we have our own bad days. It's okay. Just shake it off and move on. Because it's just gonna happen for a while. That kind of thing is just that moment kind of negativity. Negativity doesn't continuously happen for more than 30 years. No, unless you allow it to happen, unless you are suffering from, like, for example, Wesley Wee is a he's suffering from this cerebral palsy. Okay, so he was always being bullied by his family members, and that's his life, right? But he literally, when as he grew older, he learned how to snap out of it and step out of that zone.
So he shifted his state.
Yes, he shifted that state, and also he shifted house as well. He left that place.
Oh, the place that brings bad memories.
Yeah, and also he doesn't really he does have some time with his family, but he is still being judged. He is still being judged by his family members as well. So he left. In the end, he's no longer with his family members.
Right.
Yeah, even though his dad passed away and said, "I'm so sorry that I've been tormenting you a lot."
I see.
Yeah, in his book.
His mom passed away.
No, his dad. His mom is still around.
alive.
Yeah, but he wasn't close with her because she decided to make a decision not to link, not to be with him,
So she abandoned him.
and not say physically abandoning him, but
emotionally
emotionally
checked out on him.
checked out on him already.
I see.
So if
It's
people
tough.
like him can actually write a book,
Right.
within 5 years, he used his toes to actually
Oh,
type.
he's the guy who sells tissue paper, right?
Yes. So if he can actually do it, why can't you? That's
Yes.
watching right now, right? So these people draw inspiration.
Oh yeah, that reminds me to complete my book like ASAP.
Yeah. So
I've got hands. I've got no excuses. I've got hands.
yeah. So the next thing, okay, not just think about the positivity.
So the first one is
one
to
was-
identify your strengths and to
Yes.
remind yourself to shift your state.
Yes.
Okay, the second one,
Second one, draw inspiration from people.
draw inspiration from people.
From people that are positive. Okay.
Right.
Of course, I'm not talking about people who just think positively,
Right.
but they also do things positively. I mean, people who think positively and then behind the people's back they're backstabbing. No, not this kind of people. I'm talking about people who actually help you out, who are there to listen to you, who are there to actually assist you when you are down.
Right.
Get support. Okay.
Support, okay.
Yeah, get support.
What about people who feel, I mean, a lot of people who are depressed, right? And it's a vicious circle. They push people away, and they feel that people can't understand their pain, which I guess, it's very personal, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's very, very personal. So, what can they do to reach out to the very few people that are still left in their lives?
Okay, if let's say they find that it is so sensitive, the topic is so sensitive to them, they can actually go to people in chat, CHAT. It is actually situated in Scape. Okay? Be it you are a teenager or you are adult, you can actually go there. If you are having stigma towards INH, okay, if you are having stigma towards Institute of Mental Health, okay, you can actually go to this place first and then get them to actually assist you.
Right.
If let's say you find that you need a more deeper help, okay,
Yes.
you can actually get yourself a counselor that is not situated at Chat, but they are situated at other clinics as well, private clinics in Mount E and other private clinics. And
What are the more cost-effective ones? I mean, if you know anybody who's struggling, you could give recommendations, right?
Yeah, I mean, like if it's in terms of cost effective, definitely will be calling your loved one or your friend, to actually help you out.
What if they don't have anyone?
What if they do not have anyone? Then, of course, they have to start from within. They have to start from within. They have to start from within, telling themselves that, okay, I need help. SOS, it's ringing already. I'm, for example, I'm starting to feel like committing suicide. It is not normal. No one likes to jump down off the
Nobody
building.
in the right frame of mind will think about, okay, which floor should I go to, right?
Yeah. They won't say, okay, I jumped down from 30th story.
After I have finished my Hokkien Mee, I'm going to go to this place.
No,
guys, okay, if you're thinking like that.
No, they don't do that. They have to start from within. They have to start telling themselves, asking themselves, why am I thinking of all this kind of stuff? Why am I so negative right now? Is it something due to yourself, or is it due to external circumstances that's causing that? Be it your friends, family members, or the environment that you're in right now. Okay. Yeah. So you have to ask yourself all these kind of questions first before you decide to do something that's nasty.
That might hurt yourself.
Silly. Yes. Yeah. You have to ask yourself.
You really have to sit down and not just really try to make a stab at being rational and deconstructing it in a way so that at some point the rationality may there's a tipping point, right? So hopefully the rationality will outweigh the irrationality, because I mean, most of the times people who hurt themselves or kill themselves are in too much pain because they can't see a way out, they can't see the hope.
Yes, right? Because no one was there to actually enlighten them. That's why they always think so negatively about wanting to commit suicide. They want to do something that's so bad for them, and they forgot to think for their family members. Because once you commit the crime of suicide, once you're dead, your lifeless body is in front of your family members. What do you think they will think of? What do you think? How do you think they will feel? They will feel definitely very devastated. They will feel very upset.
But I guess in a lot of these extreme cases, some of these cases at least, these people already feel abandoned. Like, the poor chap who typed with his toes, right? He felt like his family already checked out on him, and yet he was able to just take that out of the equation and use whatever resources he had. And I like what you mentioned in way earlier when we were talking about having resources versus resourcefulness. So I think we can talk about that as the third point for people who are depressed.
Yes.
So how do you use that in terms of helping people, for people who are depressed? How can they use that mindset?
Well, that mindset is very important because it is not so much about how many resources you have in life. Be it, let's say you're
usually we think, if I had money, all my problems would be solved.
Yeah, it's not that case. There are many rich people who also suffers from depression, from bipolar, schizophrenia, and all the other kind of mental disorders as well. One thing is, it's about how resourceful you are. Okay, what I meant by resourcefulness, it means that whatever that you have right now, you are able to make full use of.
Make full use.
Yeah, you're not manipulating. Okay, you're not manipulating, but you're making full use for your own good, and also at the same time for you to be able to become better than before.
Right.
Yeah. So, for example, if let's say you are really feeling very lousy and you have been an alcoholic, for example, you kept drinking and drinking and drinking, okay, and to drown your sorrows, okay, that is not the way, right? Normally people will tell you, no, that's not the way, but they will still do it, right? They will buy the cheapest drink, which is the rice wine, and they will just drink it, okay? For this kind of people, instead of thinking about the alcohol, okay, look for a friend, look for your professional help, just give them a call.
Just call the hotline.
Call the hotline.
Call the hotline.
Yeah, and tell them that you're feeling very depressed right now. You're feeling very upset because of a quarrel with your family members or your loved one. Okay. Yeah. So all this you can actually let them know and share with them and be open, to share, because they are not going to judge you because it is their profession to help you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So the 3 steps for someone, and if you know somebody who is really struggling with depression, the first thing you can tell them is
to actually look at the positive side of life, and also look at your strengths, look at the positive things in you.
Yeah. And the second one is to change your state by focusing on what is good in your life and what is going right.
Yeah, and also at the same time, you look at the
people
that
inspire
can help you. Yeah, they can draw inspiration from those who are suffering from.
Yeah, so the second one is looking for people who looking for inspiration from people who have also suffered a lot.
Yeah,
okay?
Or similar situations.
Because that is a way of role modeling, right? And that gives us the encouragement, like, hey, if this guy can do it, I can do it as well.
Yes, right.
Right? And of course, the third one, which you mentioned, was being resourceful. And not limiting yourself in terms of your resources. Because as we know, resources are finite, but resourcefulness can be in terms of how you reach out to people, hotlines, right? External help, right? And of course, I mean, a lot of times people who are negative think, why would people want to help me in the first place? But you'd be surprised. All you got to do is just put it out there, whether it's through Facebook, social media, or just calling a hotline. Okay, so again, thank you so much, Rayson. I'm so happy that we had a chance to talk about your USP, which is your unique superhero power, which is really, using the experiences of your life and expertise to help people realize that mental resilience is something that is not out of their reach. That there is something that they are able to develop in their own lives, as well as their unique potential, so that they can become more and do more.
Yes, correct.
So that was your USP, and your mission is to really empower as many people as possible and to get your message out there to, you think, about 20,000 people, right?
By 2020, yes.
By 2020, and that's amazing. More power to you for that. And of course, your message is that you don't have to hide yourself or your pain. You can be honest with that.
Yes.
And have hope by taking action.
Yes, correct.
Right? Because I noticed that's a recurring theme in your sharing, which I really love, because a lot of times I think a lot of people think themselves into a state of paralysis. But by taking action, you're constantly challenging the belief that I'm powerless, I'm helpless, I'm a victim. So with that even little bit of minor victory, you feel good. Like, hey, you know what? I can actually get out of the house. I can actually take a shower. I can actually put on a sermon. I can actually put on music. I can actually call a hotline and speak to someone. So thank you so much, Rayson, for being on the show. I really enjoyed our sharing, and I hope you guys have benefited from it as well. We're going to put this video out, so if you think you benefit one of your friends who's struggling, and mental health is really a very hot topic now, because I think a lot of people, like Rayson and myself included, realize that these struggles are not just for people who are in a certain institution. Mental illness now takes on a very different form in terms of anxiety, chronic self-doubt, and not knowing where we're going in this world, and if we're eventually going to make it, because of the whole volatility of the world that we live in today. So people worry about different things that they used to many years ago. So we're thinking about relationships, we're thinking about jobs, we're thinking about retrenchment, we're thinking about alienation. Like, does anyone really care? So we want to tell you that we do care, but we're human as well. So it's a journey that we're sharing. And if you are struggling with a situation that's hard to get out of, call a professional hotline. The people especially trained. But most of all, see your own greatness before anybody else does. Because in breaking the core of you, it's about being great at you and becoming the leader you were truly meant to be. So take care. My name is Dazzling. I'll see you again in the next episode as we discover how you can see your greatness, reclaim your birthright, and be great at you. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you soon. Bye.